Welcome back to the 2019 Rebelle Rally. Today is day 6. The competition is heating up. Competitors have left Cougar Boots, which was a beautiful setting up in the rocks, and it was our remote base camp. They were up early this morning for a hearty breakfast, heading down to the border of Mexico today. And we have driven the Rome-built live van down to one of my favourite locations on the Rebelle, the Soggy Lake. You can see the drone shots right now, and it is insane out here. It's time for the dust wear. I was just talking to one of our photographers, Tim Calver. This is where the equipment takes a beating. Everything is covered in dust. Competitors are bringing out their goggles and their face masks, and the cars are getting filthy with dust. But that's what happens on a dry lake bed. As you can see, it's just miles of nothing here in Johnson Valley, and I am standing on a lake bed with no water in it. It is dry as toast. Over here is a blue checkpoint, so that is the medium difficulty checkpoint for Rebelles. Remember, they only have a map and a compass to navigate their way from Tahoe all the way to the border of Mexico. The green checkpoints, they're pretty easy, and the competitors have to get the green checkpoints. The blue ones, like the one behind me, are a little more difficult, and today is an interesting challenge. The teams have been coming in, and they have to triangulate and use their compass really, really, really efficiently. If they make mistakes today, they're not finding the other checkpoints. The one here is on the dry lake bed, obviously. That's number one. Number two, there's another one, I think, actually, if you can see. Oh, the drone's showing it right now. I love the drone. I don't have to point to things that no one can see. The drone is now showing a team live at the other blue checkpoint on Soggy Lake. So now when competitors arrive on Soggy Lake today, they have some choices to make. The 4x4s have the choice of going to the top of a hill on the edge of Soggy Lake, and they have to choose low range and a steady throttle. It looks intimidating, but if they keep their cool, they're able to get to the top of that mountain and nail that blue checkpoint. So that's 3 choices of checkpoints here on Soggy Lake. We've had a bunch of teams roll through. When we arrived, the Rolls Royce was here. We've just seen that, oh, here we come. I can see one in the distance. Okay, this is awesome. We're going to have a team approaching the blue checkpoint that we're at shortly. And I believe, looking at our YB tracker, we have 2 more teams that should be coming through the dry lake bed. But it's a real treat to come down here. It's like, if you haven't been to Johnson Valley and you turn up at this dry lake bed, it's just breathtaking. I mean, there's tracks on the ground where there should be water. It's kind of bizarre. How's it looking from the drone, Dan? Dan says it looks beautiful. I'm always doing this. Hey, can you just tell me what you can see up there on the drone while he's trying to fly it? So he's just told me he's trying to find the next team coming in. I can see them, Dan. They're bobbing and weaving on a non-road, trying to find the dry lake bed. And what's so great is they would have come off a dirt road, and then they've got to find a line, bobbing and weaving and up and over the whoops, and I can see them. I wonder what team that is. Let's see. Nathan's over here. I've lost Nathan. I'm always losing Nathan. Okay, we've got the car coming in on the drone. We're not sure who it is either, so we'll have to give it a minute. This is so exciting on the dry lake bed. Let's go have a chat to Nathan, find out if he's been on a dry lake bed before. Nathan, have you ever been on a dry lake bed? Oh, he has. He's a veteran of dry lake beds. Of course you are. And it's a staff vehicle. Excellent. That's the action here on the Rebelle Rally. You never know what's going to happen, but we have a vehicle. We get to see a vehicle driving along the dry lake bed. Is it a staff vehicle? He's pulling a little trailer. Maybe it's not a staff vehicle. Not to worry. So today, after the dry lake bed, the competitors then have a bit of a long haul down to Glamis. And we are going to try our hardest to go live from Glamis as well. It's just like the dry lake bed. Absolutely breathtaking. If you've never been to Glamis before, these competitors are going to pull in and when I arrived, it was like you think you're at the beach, but there's no water and it's skyscrapers of sand dunes. And the competitors will arrive there today and have a small taste of dunes before our final day tomorrow. And we sleep in the dunes. That final base camp is just amazing. Steph, our base camp master, has been down there for 2 days preparing. Our partners, Stout Tent, have been down there setting up all the Stout tents. So when we get there, again, it's going to be another luxurious base camp. Drew Deckman and his crew have headed down there and they'll be cooking up a storm. I believe that it's tomorrow night, steak night. One of the nights is steak night. Everybody dreams about Drew's steak night. So the drone is showing the blue checkpoint that I was talking about on the mountain, and whatever team we had here is crawling up that mountain. I can see it. I bet the drone can see it. That is scary, and they have had to make the decision whether to take the blue checkpoint. But now I've just seen two of my favorite people. Hold on a second.
Battery level is low.
You always know everything's going to be okay when you see these two. Shelley. Hi, Katie. Hi. How are you?
I'm terrific. We love our job.
So where have you been today?
So far, just base camp. What we're doing is we're sweeping the course to make sure that all of the competitors are moving along as they're supposed to. We don't interfere with their rally. We just make sure that we don't leave anybody behind.
So are you sweeping right now? Do we have anyone else coming through the dry lake bed?
It's a possibility there's one team that's still back there, but we also have real hard closing times on our flags this time. So this flag closed 1 minute ago. So our job is to pull it out of the ground because it's no longer available for points.
Thank you for that clarity. And then where do you guys head next?
We're just going to continue along the blue flags. They all have hard closing times today because we need everybody to get out of Johnson Valley and move on down the road. So we're going to continue that. We'll meet them at the exit, make sure that they all get off from Johnson Valley on their way to Joshua Tree.
All right, well, thank you so much. It's so great to see your faces, and we'll see you down at Glamis.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Safe travels. We're still watching the drone at the blue checkpoint, and how are they doing? I can't see, that's why we have a drone. It's so high tech this year. Our live has a drone. I don't have to look into the distance. I don't need binoculars. I can just stand on a dry lake bed, and Daniel Mayfield is catching all the action on top of a hill. The teams, oh man, the dust, it's crazy. It's like you're on Mars here. I mean, I haven't been to Mars, but I think this is what it would feel like, or maybe the moon. It's just nutso. And imagine what it's like during King of the Hammers. This place is just overrun. Are there people here at King of the Hammers no? King of the Hammers is in a different place. Oh, okay. Do they drive over here? Okay, so we're in Johnson Valley, home of King of the Hammers. Such a vast contrast from where we began way back when, on whatever day we left Lake Tahoe. It does become a blur. And if it's a blur for me, it's certainly a blur for some of those competitors. I mean, at this stage in the game, Emily always says, anyone can do this for 3 or 4 days, but when you hit day 4 and day 5, putting up a tent becomes a really big deal, and getting yourself organised at the end of the day and making sure that all your gear is out of your vehicle before it gets put in impound is a really big deal. These competitors and the whole crew running the rally are really fatigued. This is exhausting, and I think this is the day that you start to see the what sets apart the competitors. And then you get down to Glamis, and it is scary. And so you've got to deal with the emotions of being afraid to drive the dunes. You know, the less experienced competitors are nervous, so they haven't had a lot of sleep. Their emotions are high. They've got to get a good night's sleep tonight because tomorrow's the final day, and it's big. It's going to be hot down in Glamis. I mean, this is where the winners are set apart, because they can handle. It becomes an endurance competition at this point, and you know, it's about strategy, and it's about using your map and compass accurately. And if you don't do that, you could lose valuable points. I was speaking to the Benzies, the mother and daughter team, this morning, and they had a crushing day yesterday. And then their final black checkpoint, they're like, we made a tiny, tiny mistake, and it didn't blow their day. And they are great competitors, because they saw the mistake, they threw it in the back seat, they looked at base camp, and they said, you know what? We are in one of the most beautiful places in the world. We're not going to let that bother us. And that's what sets apart, you know what? This is going to be a cool minute, because cool minutes say what sets the competitors apart. And at this stage in the game, I believe what sets them apart are the ones that can handle this fatigue, and they can handle the endurance, and they can get up in the morning and say, right, we're going to be able to communicate together. We're not going to argue because we feel like we're lost. We're just going to take a deep breath. We're going to get out of the car. We're going to stop for a minute. You know what we're going to do? We're going to look at the view. Competitors that come in here, stop, appreciate that they're in one of the most beautiful places in the world, take a moment, and then take a heading and check their plotting. They're the ones that are going to make it. The ones that are rushing and frantic are going to make those silly mistakes. Talking of a silly mistake that was actually kind of funny, and I don't want to throw them under the bus, but I'm going to, because Tyrolyn and Melissa yesterday were absolutely dying with laughter. They started their enduro out of base camp 3, and Tyrolyn had the road book and was yelling, left, right, and the road was just straight, and Melissa's saying, but that doesn't work, and then after about 2 minutes, they got to a green checkpoint, and Tyrolyn's saying, oh my gosh, how did we get to the green checkpoint? And they pulled up to the Benzies, who I was just talking about, and they said, oh my gosh, how did you feel about that enduro? It was horrible. And the Benzies looked at them and said, it starts here. And that's a simple mistake that you can make. And it didn't hurt them at all. And the thing about Tyrol and Melissa is they're just so cool. I think they had trouble with the enduro because they were laughing so hard about having done a non-enduro in this negative space from base camp. But it's those simple mistakes, and we all make them. So the mistakes are going to happen, but how Melissa and Tyrolyn handled it is what counts, and it didn't ruin their day. And that's the name of the game right now. It's throwing your mistakes in the back seat and just getting through. Thanks so much for joining me here on this dry lake bed, one of my favourite places in the Rebelle. And make sure you turn on your notifications now if you're following the Rebelle Rally 2019, because from this point on, our live crew has nailed going live from wherever. So today we are going to go live from the Glamis Overlook. We're hoping to meet Nina Barlow down there and do some Max Tracks demos. And then tomorrow it's going to be all action from the start and the finish line. See you there.
The sport of desert racing or off-road, you have to prepare for anything. The only way to know if something's going to withstand the abuse is to go out and test it and beat the crap out of it. Knowing that you're living life on the edge, pushing everything, you're literally racing on marbles, and the intensity, and then you throw in elements of dust and traffic and race cars around you, and it's an adrenaline rush. Anybody that says they do it for fun is lying. Racing's an addiction. I believe in pushing everything to the limits. I believe in testing everything that I have that's in my arsenal. You have to take advantage of opportunities when they're presented. You have to pick yourself up when you experience something that's a failure and not let it become an obstacle in your way. Just have to rise from it and move on. I think this business is a little bit of a journey. You know, there's a lot of things that you see around here, but the reality is it's funded by passion. I believe I have the best team and the support crew and staff behind me. We recognize one another for the strengths that we possess, and then we try and harness that creativity or that energy, and everyone drives themselves to that next level by being able to lean on who's next to them to fill in the gap or do what they may not do as good as somebody else. To me, races are won or lost in the shop. You have a flawless day on the racetrack, and that's when everything goes perfect. However, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes in this building with prep and a maintenance schedule and our chosen list of equipment. There's no way that we would compromise for any associate sponsor or any supplier or any component. I have to believe in what I'm using, and I have to have trust in it. We've always associated ourselves and surrounded ourselves with people that are premium in their niche or their industry. I think it's extremely important for the customer to believe in the brand. You know, you have to prove the durability of your equipment at times, and when you go out and go racing, that gives us an opportunity to show people that the parts that we build for them off the shelf can also withstand race applications. And ultimately, our job is to make everything that we do better. My name's Nicole. I'm one of the owners for Total Chaos Fabrication. I'm also one of the drivers of the Total Chaos Team Tacoma.